and what has made me an effective leader in everything that I've done, and I want to share that with you, is 2 gems that I say over and over and over again, and I want to talk about that for a little bit. The first one is be relevant. Everybody say be relevant.
Be relevant.
And the second one is be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
Being relevant, when you think about telling a story, this is the only 2 things that I want you to remember. Now, when you tell a story, be relevant in how you tell your story, and be vulnerable. Being relevant, that's the first thing you guys said, that when you heard my story, you could relate. If one of your girlfriends comes up to you and says how stressed she is because she's applying to college and she doesn't understand financial aid, and her parents are driving her nuts, and her boyfriend's being a jerk, and it's that time of the month and she just ran out of ice cream, guilty, you're not gonna, her stress, her vulnerability at that moment is an opportunity for you to say something that's gonna bring her hope, that's gonna comfort her, that's gonna soothe her down as a friend, right? As a person, as a human, you wanna say that. So that's an opportunity for you to maybe share a story of how you were stressed and how you dealt with it, because that will calm her down. That's relevant. That's not an opportunity for you to say, oh my God, let me tell you about the first time I went to Disney and I met Mickey Mouse. She's not gonna care about Mickey Mouse at that point. I'm sure that story has power and a lesson within itself, but at that point, it's not relevant, and therefore, it doesn't have power. And so when you tell a story, whenever you tell a story, make sure it's relatable. Does it relate? What do I have in my toolbox of stories and lessons that I've learned that I can share that fits with this picture, that I can share with my sister, that's gonna empower her? Is it relevant? And that's key number 1. The second thing is be vulnerable. Being vulnerable means being emotionally naked. Being vulnerable means being intimate in conversation. Intimacy means into me you see. I want you to write that down. Intimacy means into me you see. When I'm vulnerable, I open myself up. When I share my story, I open myself up, and I'm giving you an opportunity to see who I really am conversationally. I know that people think about other things when you hear the word intimacy. I'm talking about that, all right? So being vulnerable means being completely emotional naked. And you know what? In today's world, we're afraid of being vulnerable. Why? Because we're ashamed of showing people a part of us. We're ashamed. We're afraid to be judged. We're afraid that we're going to be rejected. Because as humans, as women, we don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be judged. This is going to happen anyway. So might as well start being vulnerable, right? Being vulnerable means that, let me give you a secret. Let me tell you a secret. If I go up to you and I say, girl, I have an issue with sweets. I love cookies, cakes, ice cream. I cannot pass by any pastries or bakeries because I will get in debt and buy some sweets, like even when it's not that time of the month. I have an issue. I'm a fat butt, right? If I go and I tell you that, and one day you walk into my room and you see that I'm pigging out and eating all the sweet stuff, you can't come up to me and say, you have an issue with sweets, because I just told you that. In other words, when you're vulnerable, you're taking ownership for your life, and you're taking away somebody else's power and decision and choice and ability to ever judge you or make you feel down. I just shared with you all the issues that I had growing up as a girl. You can't judge me, you can't label me, you can't say, oh my God, Eliana, you're such a X. Because I put myself out there. And so there's a power in vulnerability.